Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mocha Says. Today, we're going to be reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 8. So let's get into it and see what I have to say. All right, so we open and we're at Kelly's restaurant. And I was like, ooh, we get to see a little restaurant action. But yeah, she's working and everything. And she says that one location is doing good, the other not so much. And she sits down at a table at the restaurant with her grandma and mom. Her mom works for Kelly, works for her restaurants, and she's helping to run everything. And she brings up with her mom and grandma, she talks about everything she's been going through and how she's been looking into filing for child support. And I believe $50K. I believe that's how much the dad would probably owe her for child support, probably back child support, I'm assuming. And yeah, she starts crying and, they console her and tell her, hey, you've been praying. This is just a roadblock. You will make it through. That's what her grandma says. And her mom is pretty much like, shoot, I wouldn't want to trade places with you. But yeah, anyways, they console her. And she does a confessional look. She's in this t-shirt and she thinks it's just such look because it's Tom Ford and it's like $150 or something. Girl, just in a white t-shirt with nothing else. I don't know. It wasn't the cutest. I mean, Kelly's beautiful, but it didn't hit like she thought it did. And yeah, she mentions she's dating someone. His alias name is Jarvis and she's been dating him for a year. And I have to say, as I was watching this clip, I was like, I like Kelly's energy, her vibe. She had very calm energy. It wasn't through the top. I feel like she was being herself. She wasn't doing the most of the most. And I was like, yes, ma'am. So we move over to K. Michelle and her husband. They go to the dentist and she sits down filling out the paperwork. And she says, man, I can't believe I'm about to have all my teeth pulled out. I don't know what she's getting done. But does she need it? That's the question I'm asking. But anyways, her husband is a dentist. So he's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this. Like, he's really interested in whatever procedure she's going to get, which makes sense because that's his profession. And he's talking to her. He's like, friends and family make the worst patients. And he says, you make me nervous still. And she was like, aw. And he's looking confused, like, what do you mean, aw? She's like, that's a good thing. Aw, that's so sweet. He's like, what? And I was like, child, K. Michelle is so toxic. That girl is toxic. She is toxic as hell. And mixed with that insecurity, I'm starting to get a better picture of K. Michelle and sort of how she moves. I don't know. I have a soft spot for K. Michelle. Yes, I have a soft spot for K. Michelle, but this girl is toxic, absolutely toxic as hell. So, she was talking to her hubby and she is like, yeah, I've been very calm and presenting myself well. He was like, do other people agree with that? And then clip to the footage of K. Michelle going ballistic on Drew in Dallas. And I was like, child. I mean, she's been trying her best, so I have to give it to her for that. She's been trying to keep it calm, cool, and collected. But honestly, I just want her to be herself. Don't pop off and go Brit Edie, but be yourself. It's okay. I mean, Real Housewives is about conflict. So conflict, make it up. But yeah, poor Kay. She is so paranoid about these ladies and this rumor that she was told that they're trying to gang up on her. So the dental assistant comes out and says, hey, K. Michelle, we're ready for you. She's like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. And she's like, thank you. And I was like, oh, that's nice of K. Michelle. And then she goes, yeah, you couldn't work for my husband. You couldn't be his dental assistant. And I was like, girl, child, toxic K. Okay, anyway. So we cut to Angela and Miss Feifei. They meet up at a restaurant and Drew and Portia join them and they all look so cute. I feel like everybody's look was a look. I like Drew's dress and Phaedra, her hair, that red hair is so beautiful. And also in her confessional look, she has this dark brown hair, chocolatey dark brown hair, and it is so beautiful on her. I really like that look. But yeah, Phaedra brings up K. Michelle and how she's still paranoid about the girls trying to team up on her and attack her. And they're just like, this confused. They're like, what are you talking about? And then Portia's like, it's the voices in her head. And I'm like, oh Lord. So listen, I like K Michelle. I have a soft spot for her. I don't know why. I just do. I only know her for her music, and I didn't know that she had been on TV before. Real Housewives. Maybe it's because she describes the bullying and she cries. And I mean, I don't know. It's just that empathy I have for her. But at the same time, I see this woman is toxic. And I feel like she is doing good so far. I think she's doing great. I do. And I think she's been very entertaining so far this season. And she's been sharing her life. And I feel like she's only going to like open up more and give more entertainment and make the show interesting as it goes on. But I really would like her to get therapy and work on her insecurities. Like, woman, please work on it. She needs to work on it. Yeah. So we cut to Portia's house, and she goes up to her daughter's room, and her daughter and niece, Lauren's daughter, are playing. And Portia says, girls, I have a surprise for you. And they're like, oh, okay. So their surprise will come in later that day. She goes downstairs and talks to her mom and her sister and gives them an update on the Dallas trip and how that went. And she starts talking about all her side pieces. So yeah, she says that Mike came down there, and he came down there to be with her during the gala. And she says that Mike really wants a baby, and that's a deal breaker for him. She says she can't promise him a baby. So her sister, she chimes in and was like, oh my gosh, when you got back from Dallas, Mike called me because he said he had been trying to reach out to you and you didn't call him back or give a reply to his text. And so they cut to a clip. Mike, he sent a mariachi band to Portia's house, and Portia's outside dancing. And then she says that Dennis pulls up. I believe, if I heard correctly, he pulls up when the mariachi band is there, or the same day. I'm like, okay. So yeah, she said he pulled up, and then she talks about Sway, the woman that she's dating, and she says that, yeah, Sway was talking to her and asking her, like, what's an update on your dating life? Like, are you still dating multiple people? What's going on? And she says, yeah, she is. But she also says that Sway wants a baby. And she can't promise that either. Her sister's like, well, Sway also wants a baby. So what's up with that? She's like, girl, she can have a baby. And she's like, oh, okay. And then Portia's like saying that she could get an egg from her sister. Anyways, she's pretty much just giving a rundown of her dating life. And so the surprise comes. She calls the girls downstairs. This man is downstairs. He has these big boxes. And they're like, what do you think it is? They're like, I don't know, a lizard maybe, a snake. They open the box. This man pulls out this huge snake. He says it's friendly, but yeah, huge snake. And they like give it a few pets. And it was so funny. Lauren's daughter, Portia's sister's daughter, was like, it does feel like a purse. I was like, oh my God. That was too funny to me, but yeah. So next we cut to Shamia, and Shamia is going to a surrogate office to get an update on. She has one more embryo, and it's one male embryo. So she's going to the office to see the lady there. And Kelly joins her to meet her for emotional support, and they have a little talk before they go in to see the lady. And yeah, Shamia's just giving her an update and saying how she starts crying and saying how she hopes that this male embryo really takes and is successful. She's really concerned about disappointing her husband. She said they could do adoption, but they haven't even talked about that. And then she also brings up to Kelly that her husband, Kelly's been acting recently. So she says that in one of her, shows or whatever she was filming, acting gigs, she had to do a love scene with a man. She had a male love interest. And she asked her husband, it cuts to a clip where she's asking her husband, how'd she do? What does he think about her acting and all that? And he says, I think great. I think you did great. And she says that he said she did good at first, but then later on he comes to her and says, and changes his mind and says, I'm not comfortable with you having a male love interest when you're acting. And so she's like, where did that come from? And you know what? When the first time when the husband said that she did great with her acting, I'm thinking he did that because the cameras were there. Because they showed footage of them saying, you did amazing, you did great. but there was no footage of him saying he didn't like it. So I'm thinking that Gerald was, trying to keep up images, but deep down he wasn't happy with it. That's what I'm guessing. All right, so Kelly is at home and her daughter is visiting. She's in college, but she's visiting at the house, and Kelly gives her a little college gift basket. It has like condoms in it and whatever, snacks and things. And she presents her with a contract, just pretty much saying that she will be responsible and, behave correctly while in college. And she asked her mom if she can get a car. She's like, I'm not getting you a car. And she was like, a restaurant? She's like, maybe. She was like, something that could help me make money. She was like, yeah, I could look into that. So that's nice. And then Kelly asked her how are the restaurants doing? And she says, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. She doesn't go into too much detail, but she tells her it has been a lot and, some stuff she has to work through. So next we go to Portia and Miss Sway. So they go to dinner at a restaurant, and this restaurant, they say that is where they met for the first time in person 10 years ago. Portia says it was like 8 to 10 years ago, maybe 8 years, but still like pretty much 10 years ago. I was like, dang, 10 years. Whoa. She said she was like pretty much feeling like low when they met. They exchanged information, but she was dating Dennis at the time, and then she got pregnant and all this like life was happening. So they circled back like 10 years later, and Sway asked her, she was like, could you like see yourself actually being with a woman for life? And she was like, yeah, I can. She was like, I am dating other people, but she was like, assured her, like, I'm not playing with you, and I know you could do good. You would be a good like partner and would take care of me. And she was like, shoot, yes, I can. And yes, Sway says she would like to be with someone like in the next year. Portia doesn't like agree to this or anything. She's just listening. But Sway says in the next year she would love to like lock down with someone, and she said she would love to carry a baby. I was like, oh, she wants to carry a baby. I was like, okay. So anyways, but they seem like they have good chemistry. They do. They seem like they have good chemistry. So okay, Portia. Okay. So yeah, anyways, they are in a relationship. So yeah. So here we are at Phaedra's Healing Water event, and Phaedra is a certified Reiki master. So this event, they're going to do all the healing Reiki meditation stuff. So Pinky and K. Michelle, they're in the car on their way there. Phaedra, Portia, Drew, and Angela, they show up at the event spot. And Portia, she shows up in like this fishnet black thing, very sexy. I was like, girl, is that the attire? Her butt is like bodacious and out of this world. Shoot. Cynthia says it's not even like two cheeks put together to make Portia's butt. It's like two separate butts put together to make her butt. And I agree. It's huge. And so K. Michelle, they're in the car. She's in the car with Pinky, and she says she can't get in the water because of her infection on her derriere, and she said her butt is on fire. I'm like, poor baby. I mean, she's not a baby, but like, I mean, dang, I feel bad for us. It has to be an uncomfortable situation. So Drew shows up, and she is on time, and Cynthia's like, wow, your condition has really gotten better. It's really improved. And they cut to Drew talking like in a previous scene. She was like, I have a diagnosis. Actually, it's called time blindness. And she said this with the most seriousness in her face and voice. And I'm like, girl, I've heard of time blindness, but the fact it's a diagnosis for real. All right. So, come back to Kay and Pinky. They're in the car, and Kay tells Pinky that her ex called her. And he said that he's been dealing with Portia. I guess they've been talking like in a romantic way. And he says that Portia tried to get him to meet her in public, and he says he doesn't want to be seen with her in public. And then Kay says he's of course African. And then she says this random piece of information that he had his bare feet. He had his shoes off and put his bare feet on K. Michelle's countertops at her home. And I'm like, girl, what? Anyway, so Kay goes on this thing and she's like, Portia is not a friend to me because if she was a friend, she wouldn't be talking to my ex. And I'm like, okay, it's giving the insecurity coming through. I don't know. Anyways, I'm curious where this is going to go. Because it seemed like Portia was really trying to be nice to her and encourage her. But anyways, so Kay and Pinky show up a little late. The ladies were just now getting into the water to do their meditation though, so it's fine. And then Kelly shows up when Kay, Michelle, and Pinky show up, and Kelly is just emotional when she arrives. She was like, I'm almost about to bust into tears. She's just been going through a lot. She's drained emotionally, financially, mentally. It's a lot that she's going through. And then in the water, the ladies are laying on these mattresses, and she notices it's starting to deflate while in the water. And Shamia is through it. She is like annoyed, but I'm thinking they got her out. Ooh, okay. All right. So they got Shamia out of the water successfully. They finished their session. Pinky said it was different. She was like, this is cult-like, but okay. All right, girl. I'm sure it was nothing crazy I'm sure it was just a standard yoga session or like meditation session. But the ladies, they go to the table, they're about to eat, and they all say they enjoyed it. Including Pinky. And Kay says, look, I want to address everything that's been going on. I want to address everyone. And Angela apologizes to Shamia and says, I was saying that this was all Shamia's fault, so I just want to apologize for that. And Kay Michelle continues and says, look, I was told that some people were plotting against me. I was told it was Phaedra, Portia, and Drew. And she was like, you have to understand, my first impression of Portia wasn't the greatest. First, you're accusing Kelly of sleeping with a married man in front of me. And then when I had my infection on my derriere, you said you ran straight out the gate in front of everyone, asked if it was a miscarriage. And Portia is just over it. She is like, girl, really? Come on. And she was like, why can't I express myself? Why can't I say what I'm feeling? And she was like, all right. She was like, I'm coming to you respectfully. And then Portia's like, okay, continue. So Kay Michelle, she is doing all of this and she's doing good. I have to say, it sounded good. She was getting somewhere. But she wouldn't say what the accusation was. Portia's like, what is that? What am I trying to accuse you of? And she's like, why would I tell you what you're trying to accuse me of when you already know? I'm like, girl, just say it. Like either that or like tell it to her one-on-one or even like off camera and squash it behind the scenes. I don't understand. Like Kay she's trying to tell everybody like, look, I want to be transparent and tell you what's going on and how I've been thinking and why, but I'm not going to exactly tell you everything. And that really, that's not good. It just wasn't helping her. And then she goes and Phaedra's like thinking everything's wrapped up. She's like, all right, well, we addressed that. She was like, and black, that's another thing. And Portia, and then Drew and Kay Michelle get into it. And they start clowning each other. Portia says, you're obsessed with me. That's why you went down my resume. And no, she was like, it was easy because there's nothing on it. And Drew says that she obviously doesn't fit into the group. Lord. Whew. Okay, so Kay Michelle isn't done. She brings up the situation she told Pinky about in the car, how her ex called her and was talking about how he's been dealing with Portia. And she says to Portia and Portia's like, yeah, I know who you're talking about, Nosh. And Kay says, he said that you said, why do I always end up having to deal with people's men? But that's not Kay Michelle's man. He wasn't her man when they were dealing with each other. That wasn't Kay Michelle's man when Portia and the ex was dealing with each other. And I feel like he is being extremely messy because why are you even telling Kay Michelle this? You clearly know Kay Michelle well, and you know how she's going to act to this stuff. And if you guys aren't together, like what's up? This man is very messy. But it is on a side note, it is a little shady, a little bit. Like that Portia didn't tell Kay Michelle that she ever dated him. I guess someone could see that that's shady. It could be, especially if Portia was trying to get close to K. Michelle, and they were trying to build a friendship. But honestly, I really want the woman to stop bringing up these men. Like, it's so gross. Like, fighting over men. Let's fight about something else, please. They're like irrelevant men. Like, ugh, ew. Anyways, Portia is annoyed with it. She says, girl, you're way too sensitive. You're reaching. And, you know, Phaedra, she's trying to wrap it up. She's trying to keep the peace, not let everything go to the left or to the right too much. And she says, okay, well, I think what we've established here, and then here comes Kelly with her big mouth. She says that Portia has effed every Nigerian in Atlanta. Woo! And then Portia pops off. They start arguing. Kelly's escorted away from the table. Pinky and it looked like K. Michelle are trying to console her, and that's where it ends. Child, look. Yeah, I look, this is interesting. This is very interesting. I don't think K. Michelle exactly is crazy. I do think she needs therapy. I think that she has gone through a lot and she's paranoid for a reason. I think people have told her things, and I think it was maybe a producer being messy and knowing what she's been through and how it has affected her. I could see how she could be trying to get in protection mode and protect herself. Okay. I understand that. But I do think that she is maybe just being a little too paranoid. Like, and then also like she has a bit of toxic. She has a toxic side to her, and these insecurities, they're a bit much. But you know, I don't know. I'm just here for the ride, honey. I'm not against K. Michelle yet. She has her flaws, but I'm here for the ride, and I still have a soft spot for K. Michelle. But this is interesting. Anyways, let me know what you think down below, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.